I got most of it, man.
Oh, man. Hey, look who's in the house. It's Frederick Tillo.
Yes, sir.
He's back.
Yeah.
Fred, we missed you, man.
Yeah, for sure.
It's been a hot minute, dude. It's been a
Play that again. Listen to the guy that's in there. He's like, yeah.
Let me see.
Right here. He's all out.
That's what that's the kind of person you want, like at your graduation.
Yeah,
like when you graduate, you want them screaming and wanting to fall off the balcony.
Except for Aiden, you don't want him there. Did you you remember that for Michael's graduation?
What did he say?
Michael was going to go up there because it's our friend, one of the youth that comes to our church. He's in college now.
Yeah,
but he was about to graduate. It's a small town, Texas,
Crosbyton, Texas.
He's about to walk on the stage, so it's already quiet, and Aiden's like, he just had the urge to just want to scream, "That's my boyfriend!" Make it super awkward,
man. And he almost did, but I think he chickened out. He chickened out.
Yeah, the crowd wasn't that big enough for him to go hide somewhere.
It was definitely hick enough for it.
Oh,
no,
for sure.
I love Crosbyton. It's a nice little town, man.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, it's weird because here I like the hills and mountains kind of person.
Yeah.
And I like right there next to Crosbyton, you just drive like another mile or two, and then you go down the Cap Rock.
It's a ton of canyons and stuff.
Man, it's real pretty there, dude. I like that.
Why
didn't they build Lubbock
a little shift over,
a little bit more that way?
A shift over to the east, or
come on,
and
man.
a little to the north,
even just like on the edge of the Cap Rock. Right?
Yeah,
just like so we can go sliding,
rock climbing and off roading. Do you remember going back whenever we were teenagers?
Oh man,
going to go rock climbing at Buffalo
Lake, yeah.
And Daniel he made it up the hill with a bag of Cheetos.
He had them Cheetos,
dude.
Man.
They were, and I don't know if you didn't see it, but Israel, shout out to Israel. I'm here today because of Israel.
Yeah,
y'all were already ahead of me. I was the last one in the group, dude.
I remember that.
And I tried climbing. It was like a little cliff thing, and I'm like climbing up on it, and I took a grip, and I'm like already half a step up, and the rock just breaks off. So I fall back down, and I'm about to fall back, and Israel grabbed me because he saw that I was doing it. He just grabbed me, and I was about to tumble down the hill.
Israel had like this weird, unnatural like awareness.
Yeah.
Except for that one time we were playing 21.
Yeah.
He tried to lay up the basketball and it hit the pole, and it hit him in the face like 3 times. Just boom. Dude, I remember we cried for like 30 minutes how funny it was, dude. Like we couldn't even play no more. He couldn't even
do a layup. I'd just start laughing.
Oh, dude.
Oh,
good old Israel, man. I miss him.
Yeah,
I know he's been busy, man, but shout out to Israel. Hey, by the way, you said Daniel earlier. It was Daniel's birthday.
Was it really?
2 days ago? 3 days ago? Yeah.
I don't even like to speak numbers because then you start talking about numbers, and I'm like, oh my gosh, we're that old already. Like, I can only imagine how my dad feels.
Dang, brother CJ. Dang. Maybe you're listening to this. Sorry, bro.
Yeah.
Counting.
Here's a public service announcement, though.
Okay.
Because I just got back from drill and I've been doing military stuff. A lot of the dudes out there are doing getting their blood checked and stuff, and and like their testosterone levels.
Yeah.
One of my buddies just went, and it was like a lot lower because your average is supposed to be like 500, 800.
Sure.
And it's like a lot lower than what it should be. And he was talking to the doctor or whatever. And it's like very, very common nowadays that people's testosterones are a lot smaller and stuff. And
is it because we're not like outside as much? I guess.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
And that just goes for later on in life, like just going through and being outspoken and talking about any kind of like medical issue or whatever, and be more open, because that's how my buddy was. He's more open. We're pretty close together, and he's just like, "Hey, man, I went. You need to go check yourself." I'm like, "Okay, dude, you're right. I need to go check."
Yeah.
So Public service announcement.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of medical conditions, Forrest Frank, I don't know if you followed.
Dude, that was wild. That video I saw.
Yeah.
He broke his back.
He did.
It was huge.
What did he break? He broke.
It was like the S5 and L3 or something like that.
Yeah, two. Yeah, but what was the recovery? I mean, for him, it was a miracle.
It was a 2-week recovery.
2-week recovery.
That's wild.
What is the average time span of that kind of?
I think it was like a few months of recovery time, or like 6 months or something like that.
And I think what was really crazy about that whole ordeal is he's getting ready to go on tour.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that was like a huge traumatic experience for him. But it was cool, to see the miracle that happened for him. That's a huge testimony.
Right. It's nice to see that timeline, like from the moment it happened. And he's really transparent about it, like saying, "Hey, this is what happened to me." And then even like it's demasculizing, like how he's sitting there crying, trying to get himself to stand up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like showing that, and then like, but you get to go through this whole lifespan of the pain and then the healing portion, and then get healed miraculously, and it all get recorded on social media. But you know how it is though, on social media, people criticize it like crazy, and then they're just like, man, he's only doing it for the views, or there's no reason for him to even do it, and stuff like that.
Well, okay, so now you I like where you're going here, because apparently what happened with Forrest Frank was David Crowder.
Oh yeah.
So, long story short, so Forrest Frank got injured, right? And while he was, embracing, the season that he was in before the miracle, before the healing, he started writing music, and he wrote a song. I think it's called "God's Got My Back," Lemonade.
Oh yeah, that's huge now.
Yeah. So, anyways, all those songs he wrote those, and I think he collabed with even somebody on Lemonade. I don't remember the story behind that one, but anyways, he's writing this music, right, and it goes viral. Forrest Frank's already just a big, a big celebrity, even amongst secular artists. And so he's just got like a big platform and super humble. You hear, and when he's talking and stuff. Well, then David Crowder broke his leg.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Excuse me. And so I think they reached out to each other somehow, and they collabed. And so now these other Christian artists were kind of making light about it, Yeah. And one of them was Matthew West. Matthew West is a big, CCM artist, writer. He's written a lot of great worship songs. But anyways, he made a parody video about him getting stung by a bee on his pinky. Yeah.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, he did. And it was funny. I mean, it was, the whole situation. I mean, the whole video was, it's funny. And I, at first glance, it didn't seem like it would offend Forrest Frank, because it's just like, hey, we're just having fun with this,
Yeah.
And then here comes Cory Asbury. If you don't follow Cory Asbury on social media, you might be shocked when, maybe not anymore, but
it's also true.
In the past, he's got some crazy sense of humor. Like, it's a little dark for a worship leader, for a Christian.
That's crazy.
Like, I don't even know if I should do this on air, but I'm not going to do it. But there's one, the one that got him kind of into some trouble with Forrest Frank was he's laying in bed at a hospital, and he's like, oh, I'm here, and I'm just recovering from, and he says it, a vasectomy.
That's wild.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. He makes a song out of the moment. And again, it's all in fun in light of, the situation that happened with Forrest Frank and even David Crowder. And it's funny. To me, funny. But I didn't realize
there's always another side to this. Yeah. Someone's going to get offended.
Because you and I, or maybe somebody on the outside looking in, sees that and chuckles about it, right? And laughs.
Yeah.
But Forrest Frank came out and said how it was a really traumatic experience for him. And you said it earlier. I mean, the guy couldn't even walk. I mean, he's got kids, he's married, and he couldn't even pick up his baby. You know, he couldn't do all these things to help out around the house. He was about to go on tour. And as funny as those parodies were, those videos, whatever you want to call them, to him, it was sensitive. And some people might look at that and be like, "Oh man, he's being real sensitive." Well, you know, I got a video here. Let me see if I can find it. On TikTok, he posted a response to basically Cory Asbury came back and he apologizes. He apologizes for the video, the vasectomy video, and he actually reached out to Forrest Frank. And I think that this is going to be it's an interesting whole situation. Here, I want to share it with y'all, and you guys tell me what y'all think. For those of you that are watching, because I think it's a pretty interesting. Let's see if I can get it going. Here we go. This is Forrest Frank, and he's talking about this whole situation here. So let's listen to it.
Who has come across your content a lot. I'll admit I am someone who has looked at stuff you've posted. Thank you, Cory, for being honest and real. As someone who has come across your content a lot, I'll admit I am someone who has looked at stuff you've posted and been like, what's up with this dude? I'm not saying I'm better. I have kind of this one-track mind of like, I used to be lost, and then Jesus saved my life, and I'm going to try my hardest to dedicate every iota of energy towards sharing that, and especially on social media, because I'm like, okay, people are following, and so I want to protect my flock, I want to protect their eyes, their ears. Lost people are watching, and that's just kind of the stance that I take. So I had made this post, but I was sitting back, and I wasn't going to post it because I knew that it wasn't going to be necessarily a good look, and I had actually decided that I was going to delete it. And then Cory had actually reached out to me and said, hey man, I saw my post is going kind of crazy. My team is reading through some of these comments, and if you're offended by it, let me know, I'll take it down. So I responded, I'll just put like a screenshot of it up here. I was like, dude, thanks for reaching out. I gotta be honest, these type of posts, they don't really sit right with me. I was kind of owning the fact that like, hey, maybe I'm sensitive. And what's tough is, as a believer, I signed up for mockery. I signed up for mockery from the world, and I signed up for unity with my brothers and sisters in Christ. Vastly, what I've seen is crickets from the world and mockery with my brothers and sisters in Christ. I know people are watching this and they're like, yup, I've seen it. Like, I saw one video and it was like a girl praying, and she kept using a bunch of filler words. The Christian community is clowning this girl for praying. Like I said, there's no seatbelt on social media. So anyways, yeah, Cory had reached out to me. So I was just like, hey, do I have your permission to post this video of me reacting to your video? And he was like, yeah, bro, I mean, I did what I did, and feel free to do your thing. So I posted that. Here's the interesting thing, guys. He had like 5,000 comments on his page, just like, yo, you're the worst. And what's crazy is I didn't know his story, and you don't know his story. So we've been on the phone, and I've gotten to hear this guy's story. And within a few seconds, I felt resolution. 10, 15 minutes, I'm like, I think I have a new best friend. 3 days ago, I literally have goosebumps right now. Cory, I'm crying right now. I'm literally crying. Bro, a few days ago, I was like texting my friends like, yo, what's up with Cory? I don't know this dude. And then now I literally, like, I want you to come over to my house and have dinner with my family. I want us to hang out. Like, I see your heart and I see your story, and I love you, dog, straight up. I can't believe that God is doing this right now in real time. I explained this in a video, but I did this 30-day journal, and I felt like God was saying, hey, I want you to document everything in real time. That's what's happening, and now you're my brother, and only God can do that. Let's reach out to each other directly. Your worst enemy could be your best friend in one phone call. Thank you, Cory, for being honest and real. As someone
So, sorry, I'm going to go ahead and close that out. That was, what do you think about that?
Yeah, that's, there's two different parts. It was on the comment section itself, and it was showing like, yo, still be weary, and watch yourself because he might be just riding the cloud of the stardust of the vein or whatever.
Sure.
I couldn't remember what it said. And then the other one was like a perfect sum up of iron sharpens iron.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
It's Proverbs, and man, I think I was thinking of a scripture. It was on here, and it was talking about. Let me find it. I should have been prepared. I got caught up in the, the video.
Good. I'll go ahead and share my scripture. There's one that I wanted to share on this. It's Colossians 3:12. Is that the one you're going to do?
No.
Okay. Colossians 3:12 through 14 says, "Therefore, as God's chosen ones, holy and dearly loved, put on compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience, bearing with one another and forgiving one another if anyone has a grievance against another. And just as the Lord has forgiven you, so you are also to forgive. Above all, put on love, which is the perfect bond of unity." Do you have your scripture?
Proverbs 15:1.
Okay.
To sum it up, it's gentle answers turns away anger, but a harsh word stirs up wrath.
Yeah. And I like that. Obviously, Forrest was very gentle in this whole situation, and so was Cory Asbury.
Yeah, on the other hand too.
Yeah, I'm not gonna show it, but Cory Asbury came out with the video, and he apologizes. You know, he was really, he humbled himself. I don't mean this in a demeaning way. So because I don't think it's fair. I don't know Matthew West that well, but Matthew West also came out with a public apology. His was not as humble, I guess you could say. I mean, it's still very gentle. I didn't think it was very harsh, but just to kind of summarize, and you can look it up for yourself and you be the judge on it. But when me and Brittany were listening to it, he was very like, well, I do this, for the community, and I've done that. And it's kind of like pumping himself up to say I'm a good person, and then saying, and then he went as far as to say that he did say he reached out to Forrest Frank, apologized, and then Forrest Frank thanked him for the for reaching out to him and telling him that, and then he said, but Forrest Frank had offered to collab with him, and he said, no, I don't think it's right. It's a good time right now. And I mean, I told Brittany, I was like, I think that could have been left out, because to me that tells me now you're offended.
Yeah.
Like
it's a retaliation thing.
Now you're offended because you had to apologize. Mm-hmm. That's what it looks like to me. Now I'm not saying that Matthew West is not genuine about the whole situation, but I told Brittany, I was like, when I first saw all this, my first reaction was kind of like Matthew West, like, come on, dog, you're being a little sensitive. But then I thought about it, and I was like, man, that was a traumatic thing, like what he went through. It was a lot of pain. He was not sure if he was going to be able to tour. That's tough, and I'm like, dude. Good on you, man, to be open and honest about how that made you feel. Instead of trying to chin up and say, well, I guess I just got to be tough about this. I mean, it's good to be honest in those moments. And Colossians 3 tells us that above all, put on love, which is the perfect bond of unity. And between all these guys, I do see that there was love. And I'll be honest. I'm a little disappointed in Matthew West. I feel like he could have done it better. He could have been a little bit more humble about the whole situation.
Right.
Which is shocking because I told Brittany, I was like, I've been following Cory Asbury for a few years on social media, and the dude, he posts some things that are really funny, but like dark humor funny, and I'm like, dude, you're crazy for that, man. But Forrest Frank, his perspective on things is it's mature. Like he's like, hey, I know I'm on a big platform, and so I'm kind of careful how I post things and what I say. Mm-hmm. So when he he already knew how Cory Asbury was. And it's like the one that you didn't expect that humility to come from.
Right.
That's where it came from. It came from the dark humor comedic guy, not the, seasoned worship leader like Matthew West. And again, I'm not saying Matthew West is a bad person. Don't misinterpret what I'm saying, y'all. I think, he could have apologized with a better attitude.
I think it falls back on like the legit sincerity of an apology, though, because like at the beginning of the video, Forrest Frank was talking about how my team let me know, he said that his team let him know, like, hey, that this is what happened. We need to set up an apology, or we need to set up a conference between the two. I feel like that's probably most likely what happened on the other hand. Yeah, because there was like 5,000 people, 5,000 comments, whatever number it was. And then in your own mindset, you're like, okay, did I really do any wrong? So the sincerity is not going to be there because you're getting forced by your hands being forced by somebody else.
That's what you kind of interpret from Matthew West, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. And then that falls back on just the word in general. I mean, if you apply that love towards any situation, that's where you get the what's the second guy's name?
Matthew West.
No.
Cory Asbury.
Cory. Yeah. I want to say Connor or something. Connors. That's where his like the genuine love came through and sat down and actually conversated and shared a testimony between the two, and you can tell by Forrest's reaction and his like goosebumps and tears and like being drawn a lot closer, and that's because in his head, like he was like legitimately
it hurt him.
It's a humor thing for that he put out a parody, and it's just like, okay, I just did it out of this, and that's just how my mindset works, and then you get slapped with like that truth of like, oh, this is what I messed up, and you're like, oh, I didn't really mean it that way. It was just a funny joke, and you kind of get two different perspectives of the way an anatomy of an apology should be.
There you go.
And how you got to construct it properly.
Because I grew up. I told Brittany, I was like, man, I grew up around a bunch of guys because of you and Seth and Daniel and Josh, and I mean we could joke with each other in those ways, and it could be borderline offensive, but we knew like, hey, we're brothers, we love each other, man. Like we're just gonna joke like that. And some of the ways that we would joke, I would never do that on the pulpit. I would never do it even on social media. And not to say that it's bad or vulgar. It's just sometimes, it's like, when you got that sibling and you can joke around with them that way, that's kind of, and I think sometimes we mistake, those moments with people that we may have offended. Now, here's what I want to say. I think a lot of Christians today, now you tell me what you think about this. I think a lot of Christians today could learn from this interaction between Cory Asbury and Forrest Frank, because and again, I won't show it, and you can look it up. But Cory Asbury's TikTok, his video of him apologizing, is very like he's owning what he did, and one could argue that he didn't do anything wrong. I mean, he was just being funny. He's being comedic, but. In the kingdom of God, and when you're a Christian, you do have to consider how people feel, and it's don't misunderstand. It's not catering to people's feelings, but it's understanding the importance of how do I love people without being reckless, with who I am, because I'm with Jessica and Lissy, and we can joke around a certain way, but I know that I can't be like that with everybody. Right. And I know that, if I want to be, let's just put it this way. If I want to reflect God's glory, then I've got to get myself out of the way. Yeah. And so if I want to love on people and what Cory Asbury did is, I felt like because he humbled himself, I've got more respect for him. I mean, I'm just gonna say it. I got more respect for him than I do for Matthew West right now, and I know they don't care about my respect or what I think, but just from my perspective, I got more respect for Cory Asbury. Does he do things that I always agree on when he posts things? No. But because he was the more mature one in this situation, I'm like, dang, here's Matthew West, guy that's been around, church and seasoned and Christian, all, and then you got Cory Asbury, who's not necessarily new to the faith, but he's younger. You could argue a little bit immature, but he made the more mature, the more godly, move.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lesson to be learned in the church, right? Because a lot of Christians today don't like to own up to when they've done something wrong.
Yeah. They don't own that impact that they created on that person's life. The apology to them is just their intent of, okay, this is what I'm trying to move towards.
Yeah.
They have no plans on like the way they're going to repair what was broken.
Yeah.
Like the anger or the pain or the hurt. They don't have no plans. They're just like, all right, I apologize. That's it. That's my intention. I'm just saying sorry. I did my part.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And there was no interaction between the two. Like, because there's always a learning curve out of any situation.
Oh yeah.
If I have a conversation with you and the impact was you got offended by what I told you, right?
Yeah.
Our plan is to repair.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not just a repair with you. It's a repair with me because I'm messed up because I'm making those problems with other people.
Yeah.
And if I don't have the conversation with you and we don't allow God to work,
right,
we can't have that conversation that says, this is why we had an issue.
Yeah.
We fixed it here. And now I fix myself because now I won't be saying those things to other people. Now it's a screw that got tightened pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll say this, and I won't give the details because I know some people watching and listening or maybe watching, listening later know what I might be talking about. So I'm not going to give the details, but I will say this. Last year, I made a huge mistake when it came to some stuff scheduling for our church, and man, I offended a couple, and I felt so bad. I mean, when it first happened, it was a little like tense, and there was some tension because they were upset, and rightly so. But when we got together and I apologized sincerely, and I said, man, that's my bad. Like I own up to that because no matter how, the whole situation conspired or how it happened, no matter how angry they were in that moment, that's my bad. Like I'm owning up to that. That's on me, and I could have done better. And you know what? We even talked about that, in that setting that, when we were talking to each other, I said, I want to be better. I told him I want to be better. I want to do better. Because I want you to know that I truly care about you guys, and I sincerely apologize. And was that easy? Of course not, because no one ever likes to admit when they're wrong. But it's kind of freeing when you can just be honest in that moment and just say like, oh, that's on me, like my bad. And it's not just a simple, okay, I'm sorry, my bad, just walk away from it. No. Like, I like how Cory Asbury was like, hey, I'm going to learn from this. Like, I'm starting to realize I could have done this or that, could have been better about how I went about this whole situation. And I think in the kingdom of God, and especially in churches, right? We as Christians got to know how to communicate those offenses, and because it's funny. Like I've throughout my years of being involved in church and just being a Christian, there's been people that don't necessarily go to church that have an easier time, like apologizing and owning up to what they did wrong. But I think when people become Christians, they have this the enemy puts this thing in their head like, well, you're not supposed to mess up anymore. So so when something bad happens, you're not wrong, they're wrong, and it's like this pride just kind of, it's like a cancer. It slowly grows in us, and all of a sudden we're self-righteous because I go to church and I pray and I read my Bible. So how am I wrong? And God's like, dude, you're wrong right now because you're prideful.
You're prideful, and then they weaponize the word too.
Exactly.
That's what I don't like.
Exactly. Yeah.
Is they weaponize the word.
Good.
They turn around. They're like, well, God says it's an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, and what that person sows is what they're gonna reap.
Yeah.
And they take it in personally, and they put themselves in it. Well, if that's what they sow, that I'm the reaper. I'm the one who's supposed to be reaping. I'm the one who's supposed to give it back to them.
Yeah.
They combine the two. They weaponize it, and that's not how it's supposed to be.
Yeah. That happens so much in churches, right? In the Christian, realms, a lot of Christians today, they weaponize the word of God to justify their actions or whatever. Yeah. And I kind of feel like that's what Matthew West was doing in a way. Like he was like, well, I do this for charity and I do that, and I'm a jokester and it's just kind of like, I'm a good person. Let me let everybody know that I am a good person. Like, dude, we're not questioning whether to me, you're going to be a better person if you can just own up to the fact that you offended somebody.
Yeah.
And whether you and I, because here's the thing. And I told Brittany this, I said, I don't know. I said, I'm just different. Like, I can laugh at myself.
Right.
But just because I can laugh at myself doesn't mean that other people can.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it doesn't make them look, let's just be honest. If somebody gets offended at something that you wouldn't get offended by, that doesn't make them lesser of a person than you. Right? Because in the areas that they may be weak, you're strong. But the areas that you're weak, they're probably strong. That you just said it. Iron sharpens iron. We help each other out, And I don't think it's wrong that Forrest Frank was offended. I think what it gives us is proper perspective to say, hey, we got to be careful how we go about certain things.
Right.
But Matthew chapter 8, speaking of Matthew, right? Matthew chapter 18, verse 15 through 17. It's,
18.
Did I say 15?
No, Matthew 18.
Matthew 18, verse 15 through 17. It says, if your brother sins against you, go tell him his fault between you and him alone. And if he listens to you, you have won your brother. But if he won't listen, take one or two brothers with you, so that by the testimony of 2 or 3 witnesses, every fact may be established. If he doesn't pay attention to them, tell the church. If he doesn't pay attention even to the church, let him be a Gentile and tax collector to you. In other words, an outsider, because they don't want to forgive. They don't want to establish unity. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of sad, because I think that on one hand, I think a lot of Christians today are scared of confrontations.
Yeah. They're afraid of confrontation.
Yeah, like I don't want to confront you because I'm afraid of what will happen. On the other side of that coin, there has been Christians who have confronted and it doesn't go well, and so then they become this like person like, I don't want to do this no more. Like I don't want to be around because I can't handle this. And to both of those people on both sides of those coins, let me tell you this: don't give up. Because what if God is using your confrontations and God is using your honesty, though it may be received well or not? God may be using that to build that person. And you may be on getting the short end of the stick of whether it's being well received or not. But little do you know that if you're doing the right thing, then you can't go wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It may not feel right. It may not happen the way you would like it to happen, but because you're doing it God's way, then even if the confrontation doesn't go well, don't be discouraged, right? Like just be like, hey, I tried this. It doesn't mean that it's over. It doesn't mean that I can't, be honest to those people still. Because I do see how a lot of times, I'm going to say this carefully, but I feel like there's a lot of Christians today that will justify their staying away from people that have offended them.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to change,
Yep.
And they're not going to, so what's the point? Mm-hmm. And it's like, man, what if God did that to you? What if God says, you know what? I'm going to stop pursuing you. You're not going to change. You're just going to keep being the same person over and over and over again.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but if God stopped pursuing me, I don't think I'd be here right now.
Right. Exactly.
And so I know I'm kind of going off on a tangent there, but I think it's important for us to, Matthew 5:9. What does Matthew 5:9 says? Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called sons of God.
Yep.
Does it mean being a peacemaker is peaceful?
Right. Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
When you're pursuing peace, it doesn't mean that it's a peaceful process.
Yeah.
And I think that's maybe I don't know what you think about that, but I think some people may misunderstand that role.
Blessed are the peacemakers. Let me backtrack.
Yeah.
For God makes everything for His glory.
Yeah.
In just the scenario that we're talking about right now between the two, it still works out because now we now have two different examples of this is how you should act and this is how you shouldn't.
We do.
And then Matthew, the artist, not in the book, but the artist, was to say that God doesn't reach out to him. God used him to still give an example that we shouldn't have.
Yeah.
And now we're having a conversation about it now.
Yeah.
And God's still going to reach out to him and be like, he's going to wake up one day, or at least I pray for it, that he wakes up one day and is just like, man, I didn't react the way I should have.
Yeah.
And that conviction is going to hit him. He's going to be like, I really need to sincerely talk to that guy. Because I did have that pride in there and didn't want these certain things to happen. Right.
Yeah, I think that it goes back to, humility. And sometimes it takes a while for us for humility to kick in because we're holding on to pride. We're holding on to justifying who we are as people. And one thing that, God, I feel like God dealt with that in me when I was in like high school. Because man, I tend to ride on the prideful side of things at times. And boy, did God have to humble me, man. He did it through athletics. He did it through, education, like showing me you're not the smartest, you're not the strongest, you're not the fastest, you're not the greatest. And as I began to swallow those pills, right, of just reality and truth, it was a lot easier for me to humble myself, to know like, hey, it's all right, like, and in being able to do that, I am like, I credit everything to God, right? I want to be like Paul. I don't want to boast in myself. If I boast in the Lord. But the gift I feel like God has given me because of that is humility. Right. Like I can sit here and have a conversation with somebody, and if I said something wrong, I don't know. I don't remember who I told this to, but I said, hey, if you ever hear me say something like off or wrong, tell me. Because I'm not that person. I'm not going to be like, I'm always right. If I said it wrong, if I did it wrong, or if I offended, let me know, because the last thing I want is to cause division and or not turmoil. Well, maybe turmoil, but just hardships, whatever. Like I don't want that. And again, Jesus says, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called sons of God." And so, I guess my question to those that are listening to each other is what's one step that we can take today towards reconciliation? What are some things that we could do? And maybe you're not. There's nobody that you're necessarily offended with right now, but it's bound to happen at some point, right? We go through,
because like on the opposite end of this is or the end portion of it is forgiveness, right?
Yeah.
And I was talking to a buddy a few days ago, and we're talking about a situation that he was going through, and I was like, look, at the end of the day, what do you want out of this? He's like, well, I want forgiveness. I'm like, okay, forgiveness. And the first part I had told him, I was like, you need to like drop it, like forget about it, because if you continue to dwell on it, it's going to keep sprouting itself up. I let it settle in my spirit for like an hour or so, and I was like, okay, let me go back, because I need to correct myself, because you can't forget it, because it's a scar, and it's going to always be there. There's no, but bringing it up opens it back up, and it just keeps festering.
Yep.
The thing about forgiveness, though, is the way forgiveness supposed to work. Yes, you'll always think about it, and it'll spring itself up in any situation. Say something happens and it triggers those thoughts and those memories in your head, and it starts festering anger or bitterness or whatever. What you need to do is take a hold of it. Say, lying devil, don't put those thoughts in my head because I've already forgiven that person for that situation.
That's good.
And I no longer hold on to it. We've moved past it.
Come on.
You know what I mean? And that's what true forgiveness is. Yes, the pain is still there, or the pain isn't there. The remnants of it, the scarring's still there. But you need to have the ability to recognize and understand that situation's happening, that the devil's trying to manipulate you at that time, and then you take hold of it because we don't wrestle against flesh and blood.
Come on.
That's the part that you're trying to get into.
You're preaching over here, man.
No.
I need an organ.
Yeah,
just we need to close out with an organ. I'm gonna put a soundbite on here with the organ.
Jay Hurt.
Jay Hurt. Oh man, no, that's good. That's so true, man. You know, because you're right. There are times where we remember something. The enemy, brings back to our memory something to get us back to that place.
Right.
And I like how you said that. You're like, hey, we gotta take hold of our thoughts. Take our thoughts captive according to the scriptures, right?
Yeah.
And we gotta use our authority that Jesus has given us. The biggest battle that we'll ever have starts here. Right? It starts in our mind, because that's where the enemy can really change our perspective on even stuff like this. Because again, for me personally, I would laugh at the whole parodies, right? I would think it's funny, but first of all, I wasn't in his shoes. I didn't know what that back pain felt like.
Yeah.
I might be thinking differently if that was me that broke my back. People are making fun of it. A month later.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because has Matthew West broken his back? Has Cory Asbury broken their back? No.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you don't know like how hard and painful that that whole thing was.
I think about that, and I used to think of like movies whenever someone would get pepper sprayed and stuff.
Oh.
After going through the police academy,
it's no joke,
dude. I'm like, that's not even funny to me anymore. I'm like, that is so painful,
dude.
Like, I went through that. Like,
how long did it take for you to recover from that pepper spray?
Back spray, because it doesn't take that long. It's not. It's only supposed to take like 2 days.
That's still a long time.
It's a super long time. But like the first day is like getting it washed off, and then the next day you shower, it reactivates it a little bit, and then it finally goes away. I had just gotten contacts, and I put them in my eyes. And how contacts work, it like slowly like starts cutting into your eye a little bit, so the lens can stay sucked in there. Well,
you had them on while you went?
No, they tell you take off your contacts, but I took them off, and they're cut, right? So got sprayed. You got to have your eyes open. Got sprayed. Went through the whole bit. Tried to wash my face. Got it all off. Well, it got like infected because of the slight little cuts. And my eyes were just done for. It took like 3 weeks. It was forever. It was so bad,
dude.
Side story.
3 weeks?
Yes, man. It was a long time. Yeah.
So okay. So I mean, that's perfect, because now you don't look at pepper spray videos the same, right?
It's a completely different.
It's hard for you to laugh at that, because you're like, dude, I know what that feels like.
Like I would not wish that upon my worst enemy. Like that was rough.
Yeah.
I remember having sunglasses on because I'd be in the room in daytime and I'd have a blanket over my head because it was just too bright because my eyes were so sensitive. And I'd have these like those old like people with sunglasses where it's like completely blocked, and I had those on and my eyes were closed still and it was still too bright. We're walking in Walmart.
Gosh, dang,
and I'm just holding onto the cart and Jessica's just walking me around. I'm like, I was like, I leaned over to Jess. I was like, they probably think I'm blind, huh?
I bet
like,
they did.
They're like, oh, she stayed with him. He's blind.
Dude, that's funny. No, it's not. It's not funny. I can laugh.
I can laugh at it now. I'm like, oh my gosh. But back then it was rough times. My buddy would, because I still had to go to the academy during the time, and it would be early in the morning, and I'm driving, or he's driving, and I'm just sitting in the passenger seat, and I'm looking. I'm like, yo, is it foggy outside? Because it just looked foggy.
Yeah.
He's like, no, dude, it's perfectly clear. He's like, no, it's not a foggy morning at all. I was like, oh man,
dang man,
it was bad.
You know, going back to this whole thing, I really hope that those who are following this whole situation, Christians, and even people who may not believe yet will soon believe. But I want to go back to Christians having a hard time owning up to their faults, owning up to when they do it wrong or do something wrong. I want to encourage you. Like, look, if you know that you maybe have offended somebody or you have done something wrong, look, here's what I liked about what I like what Cory Asbury did, because he reached out to Forrest Frank. Typically, if somebody offends you, you would be the one that would reach out, right? Like, hey,
right,
Freddie, you offended me, man. Like,
yeah,
that really hurt. But it was opposite. Like, Cory Asbury was like, hey, man, I'm so sorry. Like, I've seen the comments, I've heard, and I know that I've probably offended you. And that just like, that really blessed Forrest Frank. And I think sometimes we just kind of like, I don't know, man. As Christians, if you know you did something wrong, okay, and you have not forgiven that person, okay, if you have not asked for forgiveness from that person, or you haven't pursued unity, like if there's people that that you were at one point in time talking to, or maybe you've never met, but that you offended them, or whatever it may be, right? Whatever the case may be, that if you're on that end, don't be prideful. Don't be prideful. Like, don't be like Satan. That's what got Satan kicked out of heaven, was his pride, because it was all of a sudden it was about him and it wasn't about God. And so pursue forgiveness, because here's the thing. A lot of times when we have offended somebody, we're like, well, why do I have to, what? But what you don't understand is you're asking this person to give you reconciliation. Mm-hmm. And that heals your heart, man. That heals a part of your spirit, where you can all of a sudden be more mature, mm-hmm. and be more wise and loving. Like, I have more respect for Christians that are humble enough to say, I messed up.
Right.
When you're a Christian and you probably, listen to me closely. If you are a Christian and you can't even count on one hand how many times you've pursued somebody's forgiveness because you offended somebody and you knowingly did it, or maybe unknowingly, but regardless, if you can't even count on one hand how many times that you've done this, you might want to rethink your attitude. Mm-hmm. Because I'm going to tell you this: you're wrong. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. If you think you're walking around with that, you haven't offended anybody.
Yeah.
You're most likely wrong.
You have got to take a hard look at yourself in the mirror and say, I am not a perfect human being.
Right.
That is not my role. My role is to pursue unity, and that may involve me being humble in the moment and saying, can you forgive me? I messed up.
Right.
Now, let me go to the other side of the coin here, because now I know that Forrest Frank didn't necessarily do this, but let's think about it this way here. What if Forrest Frank would have, reached out to Cory Asbury? That's right, because according to Matthew chapter 18, if your brother sins against you, go tell him his fault. So if you are the offended person, if you are the person who has been offended, and you're waiting for them to come to you and tell you, don't do that. Mm-mm. You've got to tell them how you feel, and remember, like we said earlier, it may not go exactly the way you want it to go.
Right.
Because they might react like a Matthew West. And sorry, I love Matthew West, and I know that he's a great person, right? But they might be a little bit Matthew West-ish.
Matthew-esque.
Matthew-esque. I was trying to say that, man. and say, well, I do this and I do that, but yeah, I'll you know, my bad, you know, and but just like you said, you know, there's a seed planted there, and who's to say that God will, in the middle of the night, wake them up and say, hey man, that was wrong. You messed up. Own it. Own it. I have more respect for Christians like that than I do for perfect Christians, because you and I both know you are not perfect. Yeah.
Right. What do you think of this kind of coincides Proverbs 17:9? Okay. It talks about whoever conceals an offense promotes love, but whoever gossips about it separates friends. So like that's your time, and I've said it before in prior podcasts. I tell my boys, I was like, okay, you have a 24-hour rule. Like you can be offended by whatever you want, you can be upset about whatever you want, but if you're still upset past that 24-hour mark, guess what? You got to go talk to that person. Like you either conceal it and let love keep pressing, just how Proverbs is saying, or we're gonna go work it out. And what we're not gonna do is continue spreading that hate and that discord by spreading it to other people, saying, "Hey, did you see what this person did?" Blah blah blah.
Yeah, and let's be clear here, because I know that version it might be misunderstood. In the CSB version, it says, "Whoever conceals an offense promotes love." It doesn't mean hide it. In when you expand on that word, it actually means to cover and forgive. So, in other words, I'm taking care of this. I'm not holding it. I'm not trying to keep it to myself. Because what I think what ends up happening is we try to hold on to it, and we try to say, I forgive them, and that's fine. But if it really offended you, you know, forgive and let it go.
Were you reading the Amplified version?
Yes.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah.
That's
what I got. Covers and forgives.
Yeah. And Amplified, for those of you that don't know, Amplified version, it takes what the Greek and Hebrew or whatever languages is, and it just kind of expands on that. So
and that brings in the forgiveness portion. It's you're not forgetting about it, and it's what I described earlier. Is now you're taking hold of it and you're taking captive of the mindset that you forgave them. The devil's going to use it again against you, but you got to be like, okay, that person messed up in this area, and then if they're continuing, then you know not to be angered by it, but to help that person stop doing those things.
So, oh man, Proverbs 17:9 is good. I'm glad you brought that up, because that second part is huge. But whoever gossips about it separates friends. So if you've been offended, right, and you haven't gone to that person to tell them, look, what is going on? Like there's something happened or whatever it may be, but you would rather gossip about it to other people and not actually go to the person that you need to apologize to or you need to confront, then you're in the wrong too. Okay. So just because that person offended you, don't act like the victim and be like, well, God, I'm waiting for them to come to me. When Matthew obviously tells us, not Matthew West, but Matthew chapter 18 tells us,
the book, not the artist.
That we have to pursue that person and tell them, hey, you offended me. Like, what's going on? I don't, I'd have way more respect with people when they do that kind of thing, because, that's that's happened to me, and it's happened to me several times where I have unknowingly offended somebody, and they'll come and tell me like, hey, you did this, you said that, and I'm like, dude, straight up, I am so sorry. Like, I didn't mean that, but now I'll be more careful. Like, I didn't think about it that way. Thanks for letting me know. Like, I will definitely be more careful around this next time when I come across this kind of thing. And man, we grow, right? Yeah, we should grow. Like
you as a person, and you as a relationship between that other
exactly.
Other
like there's almost this trust or this bond where it's like, hey, I can come to you, you can come to me, we can be real with each other.
There's a lot more unity for sure.
There you go, right? And isn't that what Colossians tells us? That we're pursuing unity in that regard.
Yep.
I think that was good, man, because that second half of Proverbs 17:9 is huge,
especially today,
huge, man.
I mean, because everybody everybody in some way, sense or form is a keyboard warrior, and they're just like instantly just throw it on social media. They want to throw it on Facebook posts or let other people know. Throw it in a text because it's a keyboard as well. Throw it in a text and be like, "Hey, what did this person do?" Blah 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 blah. And it escalates. And
well, let me say this too, because the Holy Spirit told me this during prayer on Tuesday. But he said this. He said, "You cannot be a victim and be my son."
That's big, man.
Isn't that powerful?
Yeah.
Holy Spirit told me, you cannot be a victim and be my son. So if you have been offended and you are playing the victim card, according to Matthew 18, Jesus tells us, you're not a victim. Yeah. You just haven't taken care of it. Take care of it, son. Take care of it, daughter. You know, quit playing the, woe is me. They offended me and da-da-da-da. No, you take care of it.
It's like, I'm offended, so I'm just not going to go to church no more. That's not how it works.
Gosh.
We run into that.
That happens a lot too, man, where, undealt with offense will lead people to leave churches and even leave their posts, right? There's some people that will leave churches, and not only leave churches, but they'll leave an important role that God put them in because of an offense. And because it wasn't taken care of properly on both sides of the coin. So for those of you that are listening or watching this, understand this. When somebody offends you or when you offend somebody, there is a responsibility to both sides.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
The side of the offender is own up to it, okay, and ask for forgiveness and humility and love. And on the other side of that coin, you pursue that. Pursue it. And say, hey, you offended me. Let's talk about this. Like, let me tell you why and how you offended me, because I want there to be unity. I want there to be love. I don't want this tension every time I see you or think about you or whatever, I don't want that no more. And watch what God can do, right? And let me just tell you this. And it always going to work out right? Because if one or two of those people have the wrong attitude, right. You might see that pride kind of, the ugly self come out and say, I'm a good person. Yeah. But here you go. This is what I do.
This is my title at church. This is what I serve so much hours here and I do this. Yeah.
Right. Like, don't do that.
Yeah.
Just be humble in the moment.
Yeah.
And be mature. Because again, God shines the greatest in your life when you get out of the way. Like Paul was like, hey, I got this degree, I got that degree, I can speak in all these different languages, and I can do this and that, but I count it all loss.
Yeah.
Without God. And so I like that, man, because for any Christian that has been seasoned, count it loss. Like all your credentials, everything you do, it means nothing, especially in the moment of offense. Just humble yourself and watch what God can do through you and through the other person.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so again, we can all definitely learn something valuable through this ordeal.
Let me backtrack.
Yeah. Go for it.
Clarify the forgiveness part. You may go through that forgiveness part, right? And you have the maturity to be like, okay, it's just that person. That's just how they are. I'm not holding that against them. Now I have that. I can discern it in my spirit. And that's how it is. If you have that, that means you have that spirit in you that you can, if that offense happens again, you should be able to discern like, okay, God's trying to use me. I need to be a vessel right now to confront that person.
Yes.
And then use that Matthew, the book, not the artist. Use that Matthew to confront that person.
Matthew West.
Because it's not a complete bash. You look back at the video, it's like 100 times we say Matthew. We're just stuck on the book.
Matthew West, we love you.
But yeah, it's taking that ability to know that the Holy Spirit wants to use you as a vessel, because we can all be used as vessels at any time, and that you have that maturity. That's why that same person keeps popping up over and over again. And it's God's just trying to use you to help confront that person.
That's so good, man. Like God is probably trying to do something to that person that offended you, and he's needing your love, your humility. that kind of
peacemaker ability.
Peacemaker, man.
Yeah.
And again, that was the Holy Spirit that gave me that revelation. But when you become a peacemaker, it is not a peaceful process.
And you threw me off when you threw the ball in my court after that, and I was like, man, that's big. And I just was just getting flooded with trying to thoughts and stuff. I never got to say anything. I went to something else. Yeah. Well, you're absolutely right. Like it's not a peaceful process. Like you're going to be a peacemaker. Guess what? You got to be bold. Being bold isn't peaceful. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like you got to be bold. You got to be courageous.
Yes.
Like those don't coincide.
And not in your own might, right? But under the authority of God, right? In His Spirit. Because if you try to do it your way, pride settles in, right? And it looks bad. Yeah, you're absolutely 100. That was a good conversation, man. That was good.
It was good.
Fred, I miss you, man.
Yeah, I know, dude. I keep getting sent out. My schedule is wrong. I'm a keyboard warrior behind the screen sending live chats.
Hey, I want to give a big shout out to Jess. She's watching. She's listening. She said, that's good.
I love you.
By the way, that's Freddie's wife.
Oh, yeah.
My sister. No big deal. No, I'm just kidding. Sonny said, ouch.
Ouch.
He said, ouch. And he's giving us the serious emojis like, this is, So, hey, if you are watching or listening, golly. Did you hear? Okay, this past Sunday, I tried to say. I heard
it, and I got back from drill, and Jessica showed me instantly when I walked in.
Oh my gosh. All right, for those of you that are wondering why I'm laughing and not saying it, okay, this past Sunday I'm leading worship, and every now and then God just leads me to minister or say something, and I got ahead of myself just like I did a while ago, and I mixed the word it was devil and oh gosh, not a single devil I think or I don't remember what I said. But I mixed devil and another word, and I ended up calling the devil Dingle.
Dingle. Every single devil.
Yeah,
that's what you're trying to say.
I was trying to say every single devil, and I said every dingle devil, and I was like, oh, that's right. Okay, babe. Shout out to babe.
Tremble.
It was tremble. God makes every demon tremble. That's what I was trying to say, but I said every dingle. Oh my gosh! Yeah, Jessica's telling me to. I'm using the wrong mouse here. Shout out to my wife. She corrected me. She said it's demon and tremble.
Dimble.
Oh, dimble.
Dimble.
I thought I said dingle. I swear I said dingle. Maybe I said dimble. Sonny said I missed it, and I'm gonna have to go back. Yeah. Go back and watch it. It's funny.
It was right after worship. It was whenever he was doing the little opening prayer, like word thing. Yeah. Transitioning.
It's hard, man. It's sometimes I get ahead of myself big time.
Cool, you're multitasking.
I am
playing keys at the same time.
It's a lot harder when I'm playing keys. I try to be Marcos Witt because man, he can play. I'm like, how does he do that, man? He plays the keys and he's speaking in Spanish. And it sounds so eloquent. And I'm like, dude, I want to
like dimble.
I'm like jingle. Shout out to Pastor Josie. He said, blessings, Pastor Jacob and Fred. I have to go back to view the pod. All right. Well, God bless you, Pastor Josie. We're glad that you are able to watch this last portion of it. It's good. Go back and watch it if you haven't.
It's good.
It's really, really good. God gave us a lot of good things. But hey, love you guys, Fred. It was good to have you back in the studio.
Yes, sir.
Don't forget to live, love, and lead by example. God bless.
Yes, sir.